So I have another question on this search query performance in terms of what's included, what's not included. This one you can confirm freely because I had this confirmed by Amazon people.
Okay.
Add cart ads and purchase rates.
hmm
The attribution is apparently 24 hours. In other words, it only shows what's been purchased in 24 hours. Not like advertising reports you have, because as you know, they have 14-day, 30-day attribution on the sponsored campaigns. So this brings I mean, definitely it's not something to ignore, but it's not the full picture when you look at the purchase rate and it shows, let's say, 3%. It really probably is not 3%. It may be
Yeah.
4%, 5%. So what is your take on that?
Yeah, it's a good point. I think my take on it is that if you think about Amazon's marketplace, it very transactional where people have their credit cards out ready to shop, less so much about just consideration phase, right? It's where people are checking out, and so um my thought process is that if you think about the majority of the traffic from click to purchase, right? You can see this information with Amazon marketing streams where they give us down to the minute from a click to a purchase on each, ad type on Amazon, that most of the ads, which are sponsored products, convert in less than 10 minutes, right? Where someone is purchasing and checking out. So in my opinion, 24 hours is more than enough time to
Mhm.
capture what is a fairly accurate rate, and anything above that may actually be sort of misconstruing information, where you have, you know, um, too long of an attribution window, and now you're really taking into account unrelated behavior, right? And taking credit for that sale. So in my opinion, I think that for a majority of, maybe not for sponsored display and other kind of upper funnel ad types, I think 24 hours is quite reasonable to capture that
Yeah,
data point.
yeah, yeah. Cool. Okay, so let's talk about the small business programs.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think small business programs is something that I was a part of the team called Sell.Amazon. They've got some great initiatives that are available on sell.amazon.com. One of them is the grow section, and that really helps you understand, what's available. There's a new seller guide. And so on this new seller guide, you can learn about things like FBA and sponsored products and Amazon Vine, a lot of the really crucial kind of must-have programs like we talked about. But you can also learn about, some incentives. So like you mentioned before, Nick, there's for new sellers that are just starting this year, you can get up to $50,000 back in new seller incentives. So this incentive means you get a reduction in your fees. You also get free money to spend on advertising. But essentially, what Amazon is offering is in your first year, they will give you back 5% through your first year up until your first $1 million. So that's where the $50,000 comes back into play. And if really utilize all of these incentives, it means that, you're also getting credits on Vine, like a $200 credit on Vine. You're getting, $100 off your fulfillment network. More importantly, Amazon launched the ability to reduce your long-term storage fees for your first year. So when you are in FBA for the first time, you'll find that um, won't run into the same excess long-term storage fees. Now that can get you in hot water if you're not, if you're thinking that's going to last forever, right? Because that does go away, and then you're hit with the regular standard fees. But it gives you a little bit of a grace period where you may be learning, how
Mhm.
to properly optimize your inventory, not bringing in too little or too much. But really about not bringing in too much, right? But other freebies that they give you are just experimenting with coupons and sponsored products. And if you think about your first 90 days of launching a product, even if it's just a new ASIN and you're an existing seller, that first 90 days is really make or break. And so putting behind everything that you can, from sponsored to Vine to, A plus content if you can, is really the only way to go, right?
Yeah.
You can't, say, oh, I'm going to scale this up on Amazon. You really need to start buttoned up with fully optimized listing. You need to make sure your inventory is managed correctly. And today you really do have to advertise, right? Many categories it's a must. So I would say probably the biggest thing in hindsight, because if you're going to sell $1 million, right, you probably have a good formula, and so $50,000 back is nice, but you were already successful to get to that great achievement, that great milestone. I think that the fulfillment, free storage and the free customer returns is probably the biggest benefit. And so
Right.
back to your point, Nick, you were talking about using FBA to really learn, and I was
Mm.
saying it's a great way to kind of outsource some of the risk while you're doing a lot of that learning. And so here you have a great, way to kind of lower some of that risk of, starting with Amazon, getting some exposure to these programs that help you launch, your brand and new products. And, they continue to roll them out. One of my favorite new ones is, brand tailored promotions.
Oh yes.
Are you familiar with those?
Oh yes, yes. I had, one of my clients when it first came out, it was like a few weeks, and I went to, so for those listening, you go to advertising. It's under advertising. It's not under
Yeah.
brand name, and select brand tailored promotions, and then you click create campaign. When you click create campaign, you see about 8 or 9 different options. A lot of them for new ones, none of them will probably be available for you. They're all grayed out. But
Mhm.
the reason they're grayed out is because you need to have enough numbers interested that will qualify for that campaign, and they have different thresholds. And if you do have as many, then it will become available for you. So what was a shocking thing for us was, one was the abandoned cart, or
Yes.
they call it something. So
90-day cart abandoners. Yep.
90 days. So Amazon keeps up to 90 days. Somebody may have your item in the cart. You can run a promotion for that. And we looked at it. There was like, the value was mind blowing. Like so many people. So I said, listen, just go here, click, and then create a campaign. And they immediately made like 3 sales. And it was a big deal. Except that if you have several of those running, they can be combined. So he gave
Right.
25% off for the abandoned cart, and then 25% off for brand followers, I believe. And then
Yeah.
one of the smart ones combined the two and got 50% off. So
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. We shared that feedback as well. And that is something that, I did receive communication from Amazon that they are aware and have rolled out or are rolling out a fix or a resolution that essentially, when you're setting it up, I think that we'll probably have the ability to toggle on or off the ability to
yeah,
duplicate or overlap them.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, I mean, it's really exciting. I mean, right now it's at a brand level. I know a lot of us really want it at an ASIN level, right? Where you can offer, eat one ASIN, but not all of your ASINs. But I love those audience segments, where you could target just, new, never purchased, or just repeat purchasers. And um, there used to be, manage your customer engagement, which was, sending the customer email to these audience segments. But this is giving a customer an incentive, right? Is
right.
now I have a promotion or a coupon, and it feels great that it's offered to only me. And I've seen it work very, very well. You can offer anywhere from 10 to 50% off for a particular audience segment. So maybe my brand is really trying to drive more repeat purchases. I can put more of an incentive there, or maybe I'm new and it's all about acquisition right now,
Yeah.
right? And so I can only offer that. So yeah, it's a great program. I hope that we continue to see more features and functionality from that product.
Yeah, I'm sure.